Hey, hello, howdy, ladies, gentlemen, and every morally sound person in between that. Today, we are going to be exposing the MrBeast in one of the most insane allegations that I've ever seen thrown against this barely mortal man. Mr. MrBeast, the big daddy of YouTube. Whatever. He is a man who needs no introduction. He has dominated the YouTube space in the past few years, and just recently yoinked the spot as the top subscribed YouTuber ever with 300 million subscribers, which I'm decently sure no human being is ever going to reach in this decade unless Donald Trump starts some Call of Duty trickshot montage channel or something. But recently, I had someone come to me requesting that they keep their identity anonymous due to how serious this all is, asking me to talk about the treatment of the contestants on a new project that Jimmy plans to release later this year called the Beast Games. See, our boy Jim Dog is renowned for massive I said Jim Dog, that's great. He's renowned for massive projects and even bigger controversies, honestly. Oh, Jimmy cured 100 blind folk? That's supposed to be Jesus's job. Or, oh, Jimmy built 100 wells in Africa? Why doesn't the government do it? Probably because the government sucks. I don't know. But this is a real situation, and it all revolves around the aforementioned Beast Games that he announced earlier this year around March when he dropped this tweet. Big news, gamers! I'm gonna be filming the largest game show in history and releasing it on Prime Video. Over 1,000 contestants, $5 million in prizes, and many other world records. I'll reveal more later this year, but let's just say it's gonna be an insane show. There was even a podcast clip where Jimmy admits that if this project falls through, it will ruin him.
If this flops and people don't like it, then it's like, oh, he's just, you know, a YouTuber. Yeah, that's just not a reality. I can't let that happen.
So with all this weight riding on Jimmy John's shoulders, he's going to do anything in his power to stop this from falling through. And this is where issues begin to arise. See, in the messages that I was given from my anonymous tip, I received an article from a company called Vital Vegas, a self-proclaimed ultimate source for Las Vegas news, opinions, and a slightly twisted take on the world's most exciting destination. And this article that was dropped into my lap is where everything began to come undone. Something important to keep in mind, and the reason that some kid in his basement is talking about this instead of one of the actual contestants, is that everyone and their granny has signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement to essentially keep all of the inner machinations of Jimmy's biggest project to date completely private. See, just a few weeks back, there was an incentive program that offered 150 schmackaroos and a free meal to any Las Vegas locals who wanted to undergo short running, jumping, and rope pulling tasks at the Allegiant Stadium. And that sounds pretty swag. Sounds like a nice deal if it wasn't 8 hours long. Like, you might as well put me on a salary at that point. But this email is coming from a company called SLA Productions. It's an audience and seat filler company and claims to be working for the biggest streaming network. And with Big Daddy Bezos' Amazon Prime being one of the biggest streaming networks in the world, the pieces are kind of starting to click together. But I wanted to be sure, is this the Mr. MrBeast behind these emails? Well, after a teensy-weensy bit of digging, I managed to find a video from the YouTube channel Life in Las Vegas, talking about people leaving Allegiant Stadium, the stadium mentioned in the SLA Productions email, due to bad working conditions and wearing trash bags. However, most of these videos seem to be going nowhere on the YouTube algorithm. It seems like the whole "what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas" slogan is ringing true, but then my annoying ass decided to come around and yap a little bit. So let's talk about the contestants. There was footage dropped on Vital Vegas' Twitter showing contestants at the Plaza Hotel in Las Vegas wearing some arguably trashy togas. First of all, don't laugh at that because that wasn't funny, but second of all, you might notice some interesting details. Some sleeves and shoulders slipping out of their garbage garments that look a lot like the outfits worn in the past MrBeast challenge videos, like the ages 1 to 100 and the 50 biggest YouTubers facing off. So something is starting to smell a little beastie, and it isn't the BO coming out of all the folks wearing trash bags in 108-degree Las Vegas weather. There was also footage of hundreds of folks sitting in trash bags in lines that spanned over half a mile. Twitter user Sweet Matty D actually posted a tweet under the Vital Vegas Twitter saying that he found the line and he was interviewing some of them, but none of them were giving straight answers. Which, you know, I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like somebody might have signed an NDA and is now forced to stew in the stink of their own trash bag they're forced to wear to cover up the new MrBeast sequel Squid Game jersey. There is more precautions being put forward on a MrBeast recording set than most Marvel or DC movies ever consider. And at this point, the Vital Vegas article ends. That was the end of it, but then we received an update on July 20th where they managed to actually get into contact with one of MrBeast's representatives. This, of course, resulted in a whole bunch of nothing. We received a quote from the representative team saying, MrBeast was working on an upcoming video with 3 medical issues out of 2,000 participants. 2 were medical events unrelated to the games or production, and 1 involved dehydration. Isn't that swell? Isn't that so cool? Adding on to this, the representative also says there were plenty of water and electrolyte drinks on site and a full medical staff. Personnel attended to the people immediately, and they were all released shortly after and are doing well, which is quite dandy. That's quite fine. Out of the 2,000 folks competing in this MrBeasty game, only a few of them had to get sent to the hospital. So it sounds like everything's going fine. Everything's going dandy. Nothing's going wrong at the MrBeast facility, is what I would say if Vital Vegas didn't also receive some statements from the local hospital, stating 3 or 4 hospital evacs today. Overnight shift says it was insane, so not sure if or how many hospital evacs there were. The production is a shit show and unprepared for the scale, making decisions as they go along. The bare bones medic staff on site is not adequate and were overwhelmed last night, and they compete at night. So whatever wildly beastly games are going on in the Allegiant Stadium are getting way more people hurt than the MrBeast team is willing to disclose. Allegedly. Allegedly. Dodging these lawsuits like I'm Neo, baby! Vital Vegas also received some input from one of the contestants that said, contestants were instructed to provide producers with 5 days worth of medications. And as of today, contestants have not received a single dose. They have been denied food to diabetics, denied water to contestants, and at least 2 individuals have had seizures as a result. And as a type 1 diabetic myself, my pancreas is trembling with rage at this information. And now that got my head scratching. I wonder if these 2 seizures that this contestant mentioned are within the 2 unrelated to the game medical issues that the MrBeast team mentioned, or maybe some third, more devious option, where people are just dropping dead at the MrBeast studio. And of course, the MrBeast representative has said that most of these claims are inaccurate, which, you know, confuses me a little bit. Who's being sent to the hospital then? Has there been a polio outbreak in Las Vegas? I wonder if you can legally claim whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas and use that to get around these legal battles. Does that work? There's also information regarding some of the competitions that has been dropped by Vital Vegas as well. One of which stating that contestants were working in teams of 400 to lift 10,000-pound weights, or choosing between thousands of briefcases, with some of them being winning briefcases where you have to stay in the game, and some being losing briefcases where you're forced to go home. And what I found crazy is that a lot of these challenges aren't even going to be in the Amazon Prime series. What? Imagine getting sent to the hospital and not even making it into the final project you were told about. You're just like, yeah, no, this is going into the YouTube video. What? One of the contestants also noted that staff were hired locally and treated poorly. There was some working shifts in excess of 24 hours, and they had to surrender a bunch of medications like inhalers, contact lenses, and feminine hygiene products, which left people open for instances of needing certain medical attention and not being able to get it in time. This sounds great. This sounds like a fun experience, going to a MrBeast production and experiencing this realm's reality of purgatory. And as if wearing trash bags wasn't humiliating enough, allegedly some of the contestants had to surrender their undergarments to the staff so that they could put on the MrBeast Games jerseys. So there were some cases where people were getting eliminated and they wouldn't even get their stuff back. This is starting to give the vibes of a fraternity hazing ritual, not like an Amazon Prime production. Unless I have it all wrong and Amazon Prime studio productions are just the same as working at an Amazon Prime factory. Allegedly. Other reports mention a laundry list of horrible treatment for users at this event, such as being eliminated if their wristbands didn't show the MrBeast logo. What? As well as food that was described by contestants as hideous porridge. Okay, Goldilocks. Withholding medications from those who need it, which as a diabetic sounds horrifying, and building up certain groups with the intention of having them win. Putting more young and able-bodied people against more frail and older folk, I assume to eliminate them as fast as possible, so they don't die of some other means, and then MrBeast gets blamed for it. This sounds worse than being at TanaCon. Like, this is horrible. Vital Vegas also updated their website on July 22nd, showing some pictures from within Allegiant Stadium. And look at them. Look, that looks really cool. MrBeast knows how to set up a really interesting game show, and that would be the best part of this update if it wasn't for another leak regarding people breaking bones and passing out and other super silly fun injuries, all for the sake of the Jimmy-tainment. Vital Vegas also in the same day dropped a bunch of photos of the contestants' jerseys, so I guess those trash bags were worth the wait, huh? And apparently a lot of these MrBeast challenges were skewed to favor young athletic men, which I guess makes sense. This is a MrBeast game. It's not Squid Game. I don't see Oil Nam surviving 3 days inside of a trash bag. I just didn't expect to need to be an Olympic level athlete to survive a MrBeast video. And adding on to this, some other really good news. Apparently the staff began walking off because of how bad the treatment was. The staff? The ones who aren't even competing in physical environments? Yay! That can only mean really good things. The article finishes up talking about a few of the comments that were left on Vital Vegas' post and tweets, adding on to the fact that people were being knocked out and brutalized for the sake of winning 5 million $1 bills sitting in the center of the stadium. Look at that thing. Mount Everest, if it was, like, made out of pain and suffering. Actually, Mount Everest kind of is made out of pain and suffering because there's like so many bodies up there, isn't there? This is all like really troubling stuff. I'm honestly shocked that not enough YouTubers are talking about this. While I was writing the script, like I did a script for this video. Normally I don't do scripts, but I wanted to make sure I covered everything. While I was writing this, I kept refreshing YouTube and Twitter to see if anyone would start talking about this. Not a soul has mentioned it yet. So I'm glad I was able to talk about it. However, I want to dig into one last thing, which is the comments on Vital Vegas's article. They're going both ways, and my anonymous source also let me know that apparently a bunch of MrBeast's moderators have been going on to moderated subreddits and adding like comments as if they're contestants, like I had a great time, to drown out all of the people talking about like how their leg fell off or something. No one's leg actually fell off. I'm just adding that because I don't want people to think I'm alleging that someone lost a limb at a MrBeast challenge. That would be actually absurd. I saw one comment from the user ContestAnt, which seems very realistic. When people asked about the garbage bags, I told them we were in a cult. That's funny. I think that was a funny comment and a good way to start things off. But now let's pivot to the entirety of the encyclopedia. This is a long comment left from the user TenderBeast, and I'm only going to read some of it, where he says, the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, the stadium. Set was gorgeous, really impressive, so it was bad, but in my experience, not as bad as some of the comments, but bad enough to make me purposely pick a red elimination briefcase just before the second overnight of filming. I was desperate to get out, mainly because I wasn't looking forward to a second morning at about 6 a.m. of sleeping on a hard stadium floor. What? That sounds comfy and cozy. We were provided with an eye mask to block out the bright stadium dome ceiling, along with the new nice sleeping bag. They didn't turn off the lights to let them sleep? What's going on? It almost seems like the real challenge of this entire thing was happening off camera. It was like the staying alive challenge and getting more than 2 hours of sleep challenge. This user also mentions having no issues with medical and having a very nice medic that gave them a pill pocket to keep their hypothyroid medicine and vitamins with him. That's good. I'm glad that happened, but out of the 2,000 people, I can understand where they don't have 2,000 medics, and so there's going to be issues from some people not getting their stuff when they need it. I also saw a comment from Lookin' Lucky that says, this place is the only place to find information about this event. I've seen posts on Reddit and TikTok, but they keep getting deleted, which is really weird. Like, things are working behind the scenes to keep this from coming out. There was another comment from the user Anonymous, I mean, sure, that says celiac disease was mentioned in the application, and the only food provided was sandwiches with wheat bread, which I don't know if you're aware celiac disease, you can't eat wheat, you'll shit yourself or die, but phones were confiscated last minute without any chance to communicate with family beforehand. Contestants were forced to stay up all night and were verbally abused to try and get them riled up for filming. What? That seems a little over the top. I'm gonna hope that's not real. It also was almost like contestants were being pushed to their limits to humiliate themselves for views. No communication was made. The contestants would not be allowed to communicate with the outside world for 3 days straight. Parents and family were filing police reports for their missing children. I don't know how legit that is, because that sounds almost like Disney villain-esque, but if that is real, oh my god. If anyone who is an actual contestant is seeing this video, please let me know, because that seems insane. I also saw a post from the user Not What We Signed Up For. Crazy name. They definitely made this account to comment on this. That said, all these things. I was reading over the NDA again last night, and it looks like they have it so wound tight. I might need to lawyer up, but I don't even know where to start. And there's actually a reply on that comment that says, survival of the fittest, you could leave whenever you want. We should be allowed to, like, compete in fun games, especially MrBeast videos that are supposedly child-friendly, without having to worry about, like, dying. I can't tell if this is the case of lack of empathy or jealousy that that guy didn't get into the MrBeast video instead. I also heard a lot of instances when I scrolled through these comments of people essentially trampling over each other. They were limited to 400 milligrams of ibuprofen. I don't know why there's a limit. I guess they want them to hurt a little bit so that the video is more interesting. But they were limited to 400 milligrams of ibuprofen, which didn't even work out for some people because there were some smaller folks, like myself, I'm a short individual, who were getting trampled in situations where they had to go, like, grab the briefcase, like the challenge that I talked about earlier. There was a story, I think there was a story specifically where a small woman was trampled by a large man. And from what I've read, I don't think getting steamrolled was part of the NDA. There was also a comment from the user Isla Bonita, and that takes things from a different perspective, saying, my son is a contestant, and as a parent, it's natural to worry when we don't hear from them. However, we knew in advance that this would be the case. I heard from him briefly today as he made it to the next round. It sounds like conditions were less than desirable, but remember, they can self-eliminate at any time. And yeah, I get that, but, like, I don't know, MrBeast challenges shouldn't be a hazardous environment. It sounds absolutely absurd and something that he shouldn't just be able to get away with because they signed a paper. Like, I get that being in challenge videos, especially MrBeast challenge videos that can result in a $5 million reward, are going to be challenging and they're going to be hard for a lot of people, but it shouldn't be that if you mess up, you end up getting genuinely injured in ways that could last. Maybe The worst thing that should happen to you in a game show could be getting eliminated, not breaking a bone. It's an insane situation that I cannot believe no one knows about. And I want to add before I wrap this up, I believe in Jimmy's cause, and I believe that he uses his channel as a tool for good. The charity work and the donations that he does are outstanding, but even people at this high echelon need to be held responsible when they end up hurting lots of people and then using a piece of paper, an NDA, to hide behind it. That's half the reason I made this video, is almost spite, because people, even with tons of money, should not get away, especially with tons of money, should not be able to get away with things like this. It all leaves a rancid taste in my mouth, and honestly, I'm gonna wrap this video up here because I don't know if I can keep talking about this, but I want to hear your thoughts on this as well. To my knowledge, I'm one of the first YouTubers to be covering this, so I want to see you guys share this if possible. I would very much appreciate it, because I feel like people should know about this, because there's no other way to get it out. The contestants have signed NDAs. They can't tell us themselves. So this is the only way to get it out, through leaks and small little information tidbits that we've gotten over time. But for now, I'm going to be getting out of here. Like the video if you liked it, and to help it spread on the algorithm so more people can see it, and subscribe if you are new, because if you subscribe during the video, it also pushes the video on the algorithm. So thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And as always, adios, arrivederci, goodbye, good night, and be careful, think twice before you sign up for your next MrBeast challenge, I guess.